How often do we strive for perfection, and how often do we need it? Sometimes in music, we need that perfect idea, or that perfect instrument that has as little to no flaws as possible. Other times, it's those flaws that's exactly what we're looking for. This is the Lavachord. Check this thing out. This is the Lavachord by Lava Acoustic. This thing is very much like an upright clavichord in terms of its build and its sound, but its playability is closer to that of a marxophone. Where a clavichord is played with plectra plucking against the strings, a marxophone has hammers that bounce against the strings, very much like this uses hammers. The strings run up the back of the instrument and they're held in place with these tuning pegs, and in the center of the board there is a decorative hole for the sound to resonate through. Overall, the sound is nice, I think. Tonally, it's also very harp-like, so in a way, it's like three instruments in one. Besides the strings, nuts, screws, felt, and plastic springs, this instrument, including the keys and the hammers, is all wooden. When you play a key, the hammer is pushed up into the string and strikes it, making a sound, very much like a piano. The hammers bounce back because of a little plastic tab here acting as its spring. And depending on how hard you press the key, you could force the hammer to bounce a few times against the string, creating an almost pseudo-tremolo effect. And if you're not careful with your playing, this could happen at random. Personally, I haven't found a way to control that besides playing the keys very, very softly. It sounds nice, it plays nice. What's so imperfect about it? Well, for one, and this is the biggest one, it doesn't hold its tuning very long. After a couple weeks of not using this, the tuning of the instrument went way flat. After tuning it up, it sounded like this. The dog likes it too. But then the next day it sounded like this. What I don't know is that if this tuning issue is just with my model, maybe the wood isn't great, or the tuning pegs are weird, or screws are weak, I don't know. For me, if I want to play this, I just know I'm going to be tuning it very often. And tuning is not the easiest either. Turning the pegs to get a string perfectly in tune is tricky because the peg might get stuck and jump slightly, overshooting the tuning position I want. One of the other things that makes working with this hard is that when the hammers actually hit the strings, the pitch does go a little bit sharp for a bit and then kind of gradually comes down to the note because of the tension of the strings. Let me see. You can hear it. It's just a little bit sharp for a bit and then... Okay, maybe not that one. You can hear here in the C sharp. It's much more prominent if you hit the key harder. It's very subtle, but it's there. There's like a little bit of like a detuning going on right at the beginning between both of those notes, and both of those notes are the same, but they gradually settle into being in tune. So that's one of the other little quirks about this. Thankfully, my proclivities for sound design let me use this, or at least the sounds of this, anyway. I've sampled notes of this instrument to use as an alternative, as well as resynthesized some of those samples for more variety of processed sounds. In fact, most of what you're hearing is a combination of the acoustic Lavachord, sampled Lavachord, and resynthesized Lavachord. These sounds don't go out of tune. Before we leave tuning, I do want to mention that you don't necessarily need to follow the chromatic equal temperament tuning. You can tune the strings to whatever tuning you want. In fact, if I were to let this thing lose its tuning again, I might be able to do microtonal stuff with it. Another downside that can be somewhat mitigated or at least gotten used to is its construction. Since this isn't a mass-produced instrument from a large factory, some of the pieces in this instrument may not be cut perfectly. I've had a few keys that would get stuck after playing them because the notches that the hammers slipped through were too tight, except they weren't. While one notch was cut too tight, the other issue was that I screwed the side panels too tightly, so everything was squeezed. If you notice this taped up part, that's there because the nut that was embedded into the string board fell inwards, and there was no way for me to put it back in. So I took that out through the hole, and then just put the screw in and taped it up. Another unavoidable thing with this instrument is the sound of the keys, hammers, and springs. It's all a bit noisy to play, but again, if you're able to live with that, then it should be fine. Even though I don't think this quite counts as a DIY instrument, it is made by a smaller manufacturer, and as such, the quality that you might usually expect from a mass-produced instrument, you shouldn't expect that level of quality here. But that's fine. It's these imperfections that make this instrument interesting. Not only does the sound have more to it than just the vibrating strings, but the hammers scraping through the wood to get to the strings, and the bounce off the plastic. The tuning may be annoying at first, but it could inspire you to use alternate tunings. And if anything else, you could also just pluck the thing. It's these imperfections that make the Lavachord stand out, that separate it from similar instruments. If you're not interested in the Lavachord, Lava Acoustic makes other instruments too. And by the way, I'm not sponsored, they're not making me say this, and I'm not trying to sell this to you, I'm just saying. There's other stuff there. That is the Lavachord. This is the video. See you soon. Bye.